Stephen TATAW has been laid to rest at Mfolie Cemetery, which saw the late captain posthumously decorated with the distinction of Commander of the National Order of Valor. Minister Narcis Mwele Kombi represented the head of state, Paul Biya. 92% of Cameroonians tested positive for COVID-19 have recovered since the outbreak of the pandemic, an indication government's response plan is yielding. Screening caravans will be pitched in public places in the days ahead. Over 50 youths in the Adamawa region make use of their holidays by keeping the city clean. They have been employed by the Ngaoundé City Council to empty the gutters of waste. And those are top stories. Good evening. You're welcome to the 7:30 news. I am Gladys on Anchor.
Each of us must comply with the measures that have been taken.
Welcome back. The former captain of the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, Stephen TATAH, who died last July 31, has been laid to rest at the cemetery of the Minor Basilica in Volie, Yaoundé. During the Requiem Mass at the multipurpose sports complex attended by government ministers, football officials and family members of late Stephen TATAH, the head of state's representative, Sports and Physical Education Minister, Professor Narcis Mwele Kombi, posthumously decorated him Commander of the National Order of Valor. Details on the farewell ceremony with our reporter, Baldwin Sama.
A final journey for he who selflessly served the nation's colors, a journey of no return for late Captain Stephen TATAH as the entire nation pays tribute to the fallen hero. During a Requiem Mass at the multipurpose sports complex, Metropolitan Archbishop Jean Mbaga of the Yaoundé Archdiocese prayed for an eternal rest of Stephen TATAH's soul. The different eulogies from family members, the Football Federation, and the representative of the head of state described Stephen TATAH as a kind-hearted and disciplined player throughout his career. The presence of key state personalities, accompanied by former and present footballers, confirmed Stephen TATAH as an iconic figure and legendary footballer. The presidential couple's message of condolence was read by the first Assistant Senior Divisional Officer for Nfunzi before Sports and Physical Education Minister on behalf of the head of state posthumously decorated Stephen TATAH as Commander of the Order of Valor.
I lack words. All I will say is that may his soul rest in peace. And one day we're going to see one another again.
Daddy was a very humble man, kind. Can't say anything more. Just weep, Daddy, rest in peace.
Stephen TATAH dies at 57, leaving behind 2 kids, an entire nation, the football family, and the world at large to mourn him.
Very well, Lions. Youths of the Cameroon Parliamentarian Association for the United Nations have taken the commitment to work towards the attainment of the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN. They took the resolve today in Yaoundé during the 11th session of their parliament. Gilbert Ongene Anya reports that the event that was attended by Minister Jean de Dieu Momo was marked by panel discussions and a beauty contest.
These youths, drawn from the 10 regions of Cameroon, are taking the engagement to become advocates of sustainable development objectives, which happen to be a blueprint to the protection of natural resources, poverty eradication, and achieving gender equity, as well as justice and peace in the world.
Sensitize the youths about the sustainable development goals.
Others have solutions to challenges faced by the youths across the country.
My project is all about creating a learning app where students will be able to learn anywhere, anytime, and with any device.
State dignitaries present say these youths are on the right path as they are in their own way contributing their quota to nation building.
I came here to encourage those youth that I can see you are different from others who always criticize. you are doing well by being a Republican.
The young Cameroonians surely have in the back of their minds the fact that leaders of tomorrow do not wait for tomorrow to effect change in society.
Since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic in Cameroon, 19,000 people have been tested positive, with over 17,000 cured and 411 deaths, representing a recovery rate of 92%, an indication that government's response plan is yielding. Constantine Bombi in the following report comes back to what government has been doing to curb the spread and what still needs to be done.
From the very first hours of its emergence, the government implemented a response plan aimed at stemming the spread of the epidemic. On instructions of the head of state, the first inter-ministerial meeting took place on March 17, 2020 to assess and identify appropriate actions to be implemented. Some 13 difficult but necessary barrier measures were, as from the 18th of March 2020, implemented. That included the closing of Cameroon's land, air and sea borders, the closure of schools, as well as calling on the public to observe the hygiene measures recommended by WHO. The economy was not spared, and government had to step in with economic relief measures to support companies from COVID-19 shock. The relief measures included tax reduction and exemption, while businesses were permitted to continue their actions after 6 p.m. Special treatment facilities were set up as well in Yaoundé and Douala. District health services have been empowered to handle COVID-19 cases. The Minister of Finance disbursed 1 billion CFA francs to all district health services nationwide. More sensitization campaigns are being done with youth volunteers targeting their peers. Airports today now have screening units. Cameroon has above 18,000 COVID-19 cases with a recovery rate of 91.2%. An indication that successes are recorded. The government has to implement a public-private platform to ease the effects of COVID-19 on the economy. The use of face masks has to be strictly intensified.
Cameroonians and international partners have so far contributed over 2 billion CFA francs as financial assistance to fight COVID-19 in the country. The revelation was made by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malashi, who said the funds have been injected into for the acquisition of medical equipment. As you tell us, Iwane Pole.
In Cameroon, all and sundry have been putting their hands on deck in supporting the national response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The support has been particularly crucial as both material and financial resources were very limited. The response to COVID-19 has also faced significant constraints, not less the capacity to scale up testing and the provision of intensive care units, ventilation support for the seriously ill, as well as adequate personal protective equipment for medical staff. The multi-sectoral response fell into place through the direct involvement of the head of state, President Paul Biya, who donated 1 billion CFA francs. Meanwhile, other stakeholders like government officials, enterprises, NGOs, and individuals have made contributions to the tune of over 2 billion CFA francs. These figures were published by the Ministry of Public Health on July 24, 2020. As the fight against the coronavirus continues, Cameroon still needs both material and financial assistance to help the Ministry of Public Health in the fight against the deadly disease.
Cameroon is reportedly doing well with flattening the curve of the coronavirus pandemic, registering over 17,000 recoveries. Now the greatest challenge remains completely eradicating the virus and fully resuming with academic and sporting activities. Beatrice Losamba sat down with the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malachi, to discuss how the government intends to go about the challenges and what the perspectives are. Beatrice?
Gone past the containment phase, the tracking, testing and treatment phases of Cameroon's riposte strategy against COVID-19 is over. The country steps out economically resilient as the mask mandate takes over. A success story worth contemplating.
The head of state put in place the preparation plan for our country. We have now 15 laboratories. We are getting 6 more laboratories to have around 21. Cameroon have these anticipation measures. We have take care of each of our patients without paying no funds.
Owing to its COVID-19 success story, Cameroon has bright perspectives in view. Then comes the challenges of getting Cameroonians file past their fears to visit hospitals again or to start off schools on COVID-19 free campuses or host sporting events without fear. These far from being the only challenges now.
When you go out, you don't see any person wear mask in our market. So we have to do much better to sensitize our compatriots.
Whatever it takes, the country seems to have that confidence that the worst is behind and there is no future challenge she would not brace up to face.
A COVID-19 scholarship or e-learning program which targets 10,000 youths has been launched in Yaoundé, with registration going on through the website www.jagora.org. The program is an initiative of a Cameroonian based in the United States of America, Dr. Mahamouda Saluhu, who is appealing on youths to use the program as an opportunity to gain skills. Gerard Nanjeyambe completes the story.
Most of the resources during this COVID-19 period has been diverted to fighting the pandemic. Some sectors feel neglected.
Our students are at home, confined, but the infrastructure is not ready. Today we have a 10,000 scholarship online learning.
The Jagora University and the European Center for Leadership and Entrepreneurship Education is bringing online back to focus, presenting opportunities to train professionals who will take the country forward.
It's a professional certification. The students who are going to benefit from this scholarship will be able to implement that in their day-to-day life. They are able to put on their resume. Then, usually when you put your resume, you have a professional certification.
Dr. Mahamouda, a professor in leadership and international business, says the initiative is his own way of giving back to his country.
Cameroonians must nurse the habit of unity, brotherhood, and determination for a better implementation of bilingualism. The statement is from Barrister Nico Hale, member of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, after a two-day working visit to the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. Maimuna Joya of our Center Regional Station completes the story.
The practice of bilingualism has been qualified as being well on course in the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development. After holding talks with some officials, Barrister Nico Hale, in his capacity as member of the National Commission for the Promotion of Bilingualism and Multiculturalism, saluted the efforts done by hierarchy represented here by Minister Celestine Kechakultes. He, however, added that bilingualism can only be effective if Cameroonians start by shunning certain vices.
We know people who are bilingual, who have ruined, who have caused violence, who are preaching hate, who are into hate speech, who have looted and plundered the economy and reduced us to beggars and with poverty and unemployment. So if your bilingualism is not for nation building, is not patriotic, is not for love, is not for justice, what is your bilingualism for?
3 years after the creation of the Musonge Commission, as it is called, more actions are being taken in view of actually implementing policies that are still on paper and giving equal value to the English and French languages in public administrations is at the crossroad.
Victims of the recent floods in Sancho in the Menua division of the West region have received relief aid from the President of the Republic, His Excellency Paul Biya. The assistance brought a team from the Civil Protection Unit of the Ministry of Territorial Administration and were distributed in the presence of Menua Senior Divisional Officer Mboke Godlive Ntua. Our tour of the different regions this Saturday takes us to the southwest region of Cameroon, and to get the pulse of the coronavirus spread in that part of the country. And given that the region will host some matches of the 2021 African Nations Championship, what are some measures taken by public health experts to limit the spread of the virus? We now get in touch with our reporter Baldwin Sama at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, who is live, and he has a chat with our guest, Dr. Zacchaeus Ebonga Nanje, the Southwest Regional Delegate of Public Health. Hello, Baldwin. Back to that, let's go over to the Adamawa region, where I have indication that the management of the University of Ngaoundéré has been urged to be innovative while adapting to contemporary challenges. And this call was made by the Minister of State, Minister of Higher Education, Professor Jacques Famdongo, while opening a workshop to validate the 5-year strategic development plan of that institution. This, according to the higher education boss, falls within the framework of the new university governance policy, as you tell us, Gerald Nanji Eyambe.
There is an urgent need for universities in Cameroon to produce brains needed to drive the 2035 emergence plan of the nation. It is in this connection that the transformation of higher institutions has been challenged to become the promoters of third-generation learning.
Universities of Cameroon must implement the development, the growth of our dear and beloved country. The University of Ngaoundéré, which is very strategic, will adopt this new strategy by knowledge and by know-how.
This ties with the vision of the University of Ngaoundéré, which, according to its rector, Professor Ufe Chinje Melo, over 50% of its programs are pragmatic and is ready to accompany the Made in Cameroon strategy of the government. This is engineered by the Ministry of Higher Education in collaboration with the Ministry of the Economy, Planning and Regional Development.
The Minister of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development, Pierre, Friday received an audience the new ambassador of the Republic of Germany to Cameroon, Dr. Karina Fricke. During the audience, the German diplomat and the minister discussed on the execution rate of projects jointly funded by the Ministry of Environment and the German Corporation. Here's an excerpt of the Minister of Environment selected for us by Alice Mbey.
Germany with our country have a solid relation in terms of cooperation. Germany is very concerned by biodiversity, climate change, and so on. We have so many projects with Germany in order to protect our environment. We have a pillar like fight against desertification. Today I am very pleased to meet this delegation here. That was a occasion for me to recall the importance of the president with us. I think that in the future we can work together.
2 young Cameroonians have emerged winners of the Youth with Refugee Art Contest, organized by the UNHCR to use drawings and comic strips to give hope to refugees and displaced persons during this period of COVID-19. The winners received their gifts during an event at the UNHCR office in Yaoundé and would now be ambassadors of good practices to check COVID-19. Emanuela Vemioy completes the story.
These are the 2 Cameroonians of the 7 global winners of the UNHCR Youth with Refugees Art Contest, intended to use drawings and comic strips to give hope to refugees and other displaced persons in the face of COVID-19.
I did 2 pages of a comic strip to bring out the point that everyone counts, including the refugees, and how much the UNHCR will go to make sure that everyone is involved in every measure that is being taken.
The ray of hope was to inspire people all around the world to support United Nations Refugee Agency to render sanitation materials to refugees around the world.
2,000 youths aged 12 to 25 from over 100 countries around the globe were a part.
The main objective of the contest was to pass the message about the fact that they are refugees, the fact that they are forcibly displaced persons, and we should not forget them during these difficult times.
Cameroon today counts more than 967,000 internally displaced persons, 420,000 refugees, with the UNHCR seeking ways to make young people more inclusive vis-à-vis these vulnerable persons.
The wearing of face masks in public places will be mandatory until further notice.
Our tour of the different regions this Saturday takes us to the southwest region of Cameroon to get the pulse of the coronavirus spread in that part of the country. Given that the region will host some matches of the 2021 Africa Nations Championship, what are some more measures taken by public health experts to limit the spread of the virus? We now get in touch with our reporter, Baldwin Sama, at the Public Health Emergency Operations Center, who is live and has a chat with his guest, Dr. Zaccheaus Ebongo Nanje, the Southwest Regional Delegate of Public Health. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you. We continue our tour of the different regions as we promised you last weekend. This Saturday, we are taking you to the southwest region of the country. This region that will be welcoming the African Nations Championship in January 2021. Our guest tonight is the Southwest Regional Delegate for Public Health, Dr. Zaccheaus Ebongo Nanje. Mr. Regional Delegate, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Baldwin Sama.
Tell us, Mr. Regional Delegate, which are some of the districts highly affected with the spread of COVID-19 in the southwest region, and what measures have you put in place to limit the spread of this deadly virus in that part of the country?
The southwest region consists of 18 health districts, 10 of which are affected by the COVID pandemic. And out of these, in decreasing order of magnitude, we have Boya, Limbe, Kumba, Manfe, Chikwana, that are most affected.
And what measures have you put in place to limit the spread, especially knowing very well that the southwest region with two towns, Boya and Limbe, that will be involved in the organization of the 2021 African Nations Championship so as to avoid any spread of the virus?
The measures that we have adequately taken within the region are those that are compliant with the treaty strategy, that is track, test, treat, and also making sure a lot of sensitization and testing within the communities in a decentralized manner are enhanced. As we speak, there are many of these health districts which are presently applying these treaties in public places, in markets, in schools, in junction towns, and so on, motor parks, and so on and so forth. And then, advocating for the barrier measures to be intensified, notably the wearing of face masks, the using of hand sanitizers. We have a medical subcommittee, which I have the privilege and honor to head. And within this medical subcommittee, we have the Incident Management COVID-19 Committee that we just do all to enhance the instructions that have been handed down to us by the Ministry of Health and WHO. That is putting hand wash points at all the entrances to the various training grounds, as well as the main competition stadium in Geme, Limbe, and as well as reinforcing surveillance, testing, and treatment at our frontier health posts from Ekok, Ekondotiti, Idabato, Bamuso, Edina, Chico.
Thank you so much, Dr. Zaccheaus Ebongo Nanje. You are the Southwest Regional Delegate for Public Health. That's the situation in the Southwest region of the country. We continue our tour of the different regions this Sunday as we take you over to the Northwest region of Cameroon.
Thank you very much, Baldwin Sama. Hope to be in your company tomorrow. Some agro-pastoral farmers across Cameroon who benefited from the livestock development projects have been counting their profits. Amongst them is Louis Bertrand Atangana, a poultry farmer in the Centre region, who is now able to produce 25,000-day-old chicks a week thanks to Prodel's assistance. Beatrice Ngum visited his production units in Oja and Konde Mayos and now reports.
Louis Bertrand Atangana is a beneficiary of the Livestock Development Project. His production unit has just received a new incubator from Belgium. The state-of-the-art equipment will help the 27-man cooperative to scale up their production capacity.
Avant
We bought this incubator with Vidéo funds. This new incubator will help boost our production from 5,000 to 25,000 day-old chick a week.
The cooperative also runs a farm from where the eggs destined for the incubator are hatched, some 5 kilometers from Fu in Condomeyos. The livestock development project has equally been there with training and logistics.
With the Vidéo funds, we also restructured our cooperative. We received trainings and also bought equipment like this solar station and equally hens to lay the eggs.
The agro-pastoral activity has benefited Prodel's funds to the tune of 75 million CFA francs, money which has been used to develop the farms through the purchase of modern equipment.
The book of the week is titled Effective Pedagogy Under the New Pedagogic Approach, authored by Emmanuel Tiembukong. It is a manual to guide teachers who are passionate for the profession. Natasha Lehman-Losha read through the 130-page book for the 7:30 News.
The author of Effective Pedagogy Under the New Pedagogic Approach has not limited himself only to theory, but has also provided a social science teacher with practical examples as illustrations applicable in the classrooms. Emmanuel Tiembukong's 130-page book has 5 chapters written in simple English. Chapters 1 and 2 explain the pedagogic process, that is, lesson preparation, objectives, contents, teaching, and methodology. Chapter 3, 4, and 5 are all about methods and techniques in learner-centered pedagogy and summative evaluations. The book is an effort to enable teachers to be more effective. With a particular focus on teachers' difficulties and weaknesses, the pedagogic inspector has significantly eased the work of the classroom teacher by giving prominence to teaching learning methods. The author, Emmanuel Tiembukong, is a pedagogic inspector working under the Ministry of Secondary Education.
Ngaoundéré City Council has engaged the services of some 50 students to clean up the streets and drains all over the city during this holiday period. As Salas Kwine reports in CRTV Adamawa, the holiday job scheme was officially launched by the Senior Divisional Officer for the VINA, Fritz Dikoso.
Keeping the town of Ngaoundéré clean and beautiful for everyone to appreciate is the key for officials of the City Council. For 1 month, the 50 students will identify and carry out general cleaning, including the opening of blocked gutters, drainages, and grass cutting. They will also clear overgrown trees, as well as sweep and clean public edifices. The Senior Divisional Officer for the VINA, Fritz Dikoso, while launching the program, said the students would earn enough money that will enable them supplement the purchase of school needs. The holiday job scheme, which forms part of a vast cleanup campaign that takes place every Thursday across the town of Ngaoundéré, was initiated by the Ngaoundéré City Council to alleviate poverty and boost family incomes.
Let's now take you to the seaside resort town of Krabi, Ocean Division of the South Region, to discover Campo, situated at the border with Equatorial Guinea. It is a veritable tourist attraction with clean sandy beaches to fishing activity, diverse animal and plant species of the Campo Man National Park, coupled with the indigenous forest people, plus the Bayegli pygmies. Pontianos Lawong of CRTV South reports that it is a tourist site which anyone would love to visit.
Campo, a municipality created in 1961, situated some 64 kilometers south of the Ocean Divisional capital, Krabi. The small town of approximately 4,000 inhabitants is found on the shores of the Atlantic Ocean. It sits on the border between Cameroon and the Equatorial Guinea, separated from the Equato-Guinean town Rio Campo by the Ntem River, a distance of just 800 meters, a factor that favors cross-border commercial exchange. Both the Atlantic Ocean and the Ntem River have given rise to enormous fishing activity, attracting not only fishermen from all over Cameroon, but also tourists from the Central African sub-region and beyond. Another outstanding tourist attraction is the Campo Man National Park. It covers a surface area of plus 2,600 kilometers squared, an expert stock of 1,500 plant species, as well as a wide variety of animal species, amongst them 800 mammal species, 112 types of reptiles, and 302 bird species. These, coupled with the presence of the indigenous forest people, the Bageli pygmies, with their unique way of life, continue to attract thousands of tourists to Campo.
Those beautiful images there in Campo draws the curtains on the 7:30 news, but immediately after this newscast, join the TV newsroom for a special 26-minute documentary paying homage to late Stephen ETA TATAW with testimonies from family members and former teammates, a documentary compiled by Bodwin Sama. You'll be in the company of Atabadine Omar at 8:30 for the news in French. I'll be back tomorrow, same time. Until then, the technical crew join me in wishing you a pleasant evening. Good night.
In this connection, we should avoid stigmatizing